This is homemade bread that Nancy Point made, by the way.
Roll, muffin, or
I got a
homemade bread?
roll, that's right.
What can I get you to drink?
Unsweet tea.
Yep. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Roll or muffin or homemade bread? Okay.
What would you like to drink? You want ice? Thank you.
So what's the story behind the homemade bread? Who made the homemade
Nancy
bread?
Point,
Our
Okay.
grand poobah.
our
Okay.
grandpa.
Okay, y'all can come back for dessert if you want to.
I made the chest bars and deviled eggs.
Oh, okay.
You can come back and
Newly
get
formed.
your dessert. Yeah, there's plenty of it.
Better save me a piece of that chocolate pie.
We've got muffins and rolls and homemade bread.
You want some homemade bread?
Homemade bread.
I think the homemade bread's a hit.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We're having lunch for the veterans. We're honoring our veterans. And Monday, we will be at the courthouse with them when they do their service, November 11th at 11 a.m. And we thought this was the best way to honor them. We are the Mary Amy Rogers DAR chapter, and we have 62 members. 60 members.
Okay.
Here in Hawkins County, and we serve our veterans. We have ham and fried chicken. We have corn and potatoes and broccoli casserole and a big strawberry salad. Lots of different kinds of bread and desserts. We have a wide array of good things to eat.
Where did this all come from?
The members donated all of this.
Okay, all right. Well, another dumb question. So how did you guys come up with this idea?
We wanted to do something to honor the veterans, and they've helped us. We're going to do, in January, we're going to mark our Patriots' daughter's grave, who we are named for, Mary Amy Rogers. Her husband was the founder of Rogersville, and her grave is down in the Crockett Springs Park, right next to the Rogers Tavern. And in January, we're going to honor her and mark her grave and do a big grave marking and have people from all over the state come. We also are going to have a dinner that night in honoring her father, Captain Thomas Amy, as well as Mary Amy Rogers. It's America 250 project of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Okay, well, where's that going to be?
It will be at the grave marking will be at Crockett Springs Park in the cemetery there, which the VFW has helped us with. We've had the graves cleaned. One of our members cleaned the graves. And then we will have dinner that night at the Hill Springs Inn, a special catered dinner.
Oh, boy.
We will make up brochures on Thomas Amy, and we will use that as an educational opportunity for children in Hawkins County. We will also have information about Mary Amy Rogers, as well as her husband, Joseph Rogers, by her descendants, which several of them are our members.
Oh, wow.
Descendants of Mary Amy Rogers. Hawkins County has a wealth of patriots that were in the Revolutionary War. I am pretty sure more than 37 patriots have been noted from Hawkins County. Many are buried here, and their families are here, and that's who our members are.
They're descendants.
Yes,
Okay.
descendants of a patriot.
Okay.
It's very important for us to thank them, though, for everything they've been through. That's why we're free today, why we had elections this week.
Right.
It's why we get to meet like this, is because our veterans paid the price.
Right. Come
Sarah,
over here and be interviewed.
tell him about your package you're making up. She's done 100.
My care bag,
Yeah.
my care bags.
Yeah.
They started out doing them for God's Blueprint and the homeless people, but then when all this happened, I started making them. I put toothbrushes, toothpaste, body wash, baby wipes, and then I've even come up with, I found for a very inexpensive price, to put space blankets. I don't know if people know what space
Right, the little
blankets are.
silver
Those-
things
The
that-
silver things
yeah.
that they can wrap up and be warm in, so I've
Right.
added those to them.
Oh, okay.
So I've been making up all of those.
Oh, did you bring some with you today?
Yep, I left some here today.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So how have you been distributing these?
I've been taking them to whoever would go. A friend of mine was going from here to North Carolina to do some work with the grader and stuff like that. He took some with him. The Bridge Church has taken twice for me. They took some up to another church in Irwin. Some other people that I know took some more up to Irwin. I was trying to keep them in Tennessee, but I have family in North Carolina, so it doesn't matter.
So you made how many did you make?
I've probably made close to 75 or 100 so
Oh
far.
wow! How many did you bring with you today?
I brought 6 today. That was
Okay.
all I had left.
Okay.
But I did bring some separate bags that had a space blanket in it. And then if you want to add anything to it, like a pair of socks or anything like that, they can add to it.
The ones that you brought today, who are those going to?
They said they had a couple of homeless people, homeless veterans, and they would see that they got them.
They want to invite any veteran here and everyone that will to maybe come up and share a little bit about their tour. The time they were in service, you know, the funny things, anything you want to tell them that happened to you while you was in service, they want to know a little bit about you. So I'll not be bashful. If you promise you will follow me, I will start something off. Okay? Now we know our veterans is not bashful, so you can rule that out. So, okay. My name is Dennis Elkins. I was in Vietnam in service in 1970 and 71. Spent 15 months over there. Was actually stationed in Cameron Bay, but I was with a convoy unit. We run line haul convoys up into the Central Highlands. And if you read anything about the Central Highlands, it's the actual mountains in Vietnam borders Cambodia and Laos and all. So a lot of the roads over there were, some of them was paved, and most of them was just dirt roads. And if you could imagine traveling Clinch Mountain or Stone Mountain or some of these mountains with dirt roads, driving a 5-ton tractor and trailer, you can imagine what it was like. But anyway, one of the funny things that happened to me while I was over there, I had buddied up with the guy out of Oklahoma. His name was Earl Gordon. And I don't think he ever got into very much Venus. But anyway, Earl and I went on R&R to Australia together. He was a CO driver. And if you remember back in the 60s and early 70s in Morristown down here, they had a fountain out there on Cumberland and whatever street it crossed it, a nice big fountain. Well, in Sydney, Australia there, they had a nice big fountain too. And us kids from Cherokee, well, it was Rogersville High School then, would go down there a lot of times on the weekend and we'd soap sud that fountain. You know, it'd run everywhere. So I got this bright idea that Earl and I would soap sud this fountain there in Sydney, Australia. Well, we did that one night. They shut the town down. There's soap suds running everywhere. They didn't know what was going on. So, you know, they didn't find out about it, about who did it or why or nothing, because something probably still be over there. But anyway, they shut the whole town of Sydney down there with all those soap suds running out. So that was a funny thing that happened. But to me, I want to appreciate what these ladies has done for us today and welcomed our veterans here and fed them and all. So, and remember Veterans Day, they'll be down there too. And any time that you can support these ladies, please do it. We have the Joseph Rogers Cemetery down there. Our post is named after Joseph Rogers. And they're named after this DAR is named after Mary. So the cemetery is down there at Crockett Springs. So we're kind of, you know, together on this deal, and we really appreciate them. All right, so it's somebody else's turn. We did Marktown all the time.
That was Mars Boulevard.
Well, my name's Terry Deschler, and I was in the Army for 10 years during the first Gulf War. And I spent a year over in Riyadh and Dhahran in Saudi Arabia as a casualty reporter. So we did a lot of the casualties, we were in the morgues, the different things, you know, where all the people were coming in and the bad stuff like that. And then I came back after the Gulf War and I became an MP. And then my last station was down in Florida at an air defense unit. So we did that for a while. But in 91, when we were over in Saudi, especially in Riyadh, even though they knew we were American women, we still had to wear the burqas over our clothes, because now it's a lot more liberal and women can drive and fly, and even though the war was going on, we weren't allowed to do any of that, other than in the military vehicles. So anyways, but the funny story, after we went into town, we got R&R and we went into town to Bahrain and the different places, we weren't even allowed to go in the restaurants. Fast food places, they'd come to the doors because we were women, we had to order and get our food at the door. We weren't allowed to go in music stores, public transportation, none of that. So, and that never changed till after, you know, years later. But anyways, but it was an interesting experience, you know, good experience though. So, and then I was out in 1998 is when I went ahead and got out. They asked me, I was on extension of my enlistment, they said, well, you can get out now, or you have to go to Iraq for 2 years. So after 10 years, I got out. So, thank you.
My name is Gladys Owens, and I was in the United States Air Force in 1971, 72, and 73. And my MOS was I was a personnel specialist. I tell everybody that I was the girl all the guys looked for, because I was the one that typed up your DD-214s. So you guys were really looking for me. But I enjoyed it because it was the best thing I ever done for myself. The one thing that my job is at the time we were not bombing Cambodia, but we were bombing Cambodia. So my job was to make sure that the pilots all had their records and everything were in order. Their insurances and stuff, you know, everything was in order. So we had to process them out for them to go do on the bombing to go bombing, which they were not bombing Cambodia, according to Nixon. And I remember one time we went through the whole process, and just as we got the last pilot out, they come back and said they'd canceled the bombing raid. So then we had to process all the guys back through, and at the end of it, then we partied for the rest of the day. So, I mean, I appreciate the fact that I was able to do it, and I thank God for the experience. I guess maybe the funniest thing I can think of, I mean, there was quite a few things. The funniest thing is, you know, being a girl from East Tennessee. I mean, I was just a hillbilly, still am, I guess. But I was fresh off the farm. You know, I didn't know nothing. And I go in and I'm in this office, and all these guys they had bought a watermelon, and they had the watermelon in the refrigerator, and every once in a while they'd go look at the watermelon. And I'm going, why are they looking at the watermelon? And then after the end of the day, they decide to cut the watermelon. And when they cut the watermelon, it was just oozing with vodka. They had spent all day long getting hypodermic needles and going in there and shooting vodka in that watermelon. So I sat there and ate some watermelon. But like I said, it was a good experience, and I thank God for it.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Warlock. I spent 20 years in the Air Force. I was in Thailand from 71 to 72. And I was part of the 432nd Supply Squadron. We took the best supply in command for the second year in a row. And got an outstanding unit award for it. And the year I was there, guerrillas hit every base in Thailand except mine. They waited until 3 months after I left and hit. And what I heard from afterwards, if I was there, I could have been right in the middle of it. Because there was many a time that I'd be running from supply compound on a 15,000-pound forklift backwards to the flight line. And they went from the bomb dump right down the road to the flight line. And halfway there is the road to supply squad. So I would have been going up there and to the flight line with a pylon for aircraft, waiting for it so they could go on their mission. So I was lucky. I didn't have to be in it, but it was a good year. 12-hour shifts. And the Vietnam aces came from that base. And I knew one of the pilots, because he was the equipment custodian for the alert area when I first got over there. They just shot down his third plane when he got shot down. And his backseater survived over 30 days evading the enemy before we were able to touch base with him and rescued him. And he went on to become an ace. And so it was a pretty interesting year. Another side note, at another base here in the States, if you ever go out to the Air Force Academy and go in the North Gate, to your left, you'll see a B-52 in flight, mounted. I had a small hand in that, because at Peterson Air Force Base, I was base engine manager. So I had to report those engines that came off the plane as our maintenance people prepared it. They towed from Peterson 20 miles to the Air Force Academy. So that was a pretty big highlight in my career, to be a part of that very small part of that plane being there. So there's nothing more to do. Now I'll pass it on to someone else.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Martin. I was privileged to serve 3 years in the Army. I spent 2 years on Fort Bliss with the Hawk missile system anti-aircraft. I spent 1 year in tech school. I spent the second year as an instructor on the missile system that we spent that training time on. I volunteered to go to Korea, and I can't say it was a mistake, but it was a different event. We had, our role, as Carl might be able to mention, was defending Osan and Kimpo Air Force bases. We hit Korea in a tumultuous time. Students were rioting against the government. Communists were infiltrating the country, trying to reinstill another war, and a difficult place for Americans to be. Most of us survived. We lost some men in a truck crash. We had some on-duty injuries. I wouldn't trade those 3 years for anything. And I still get very emotional when I talk about it. Lots of it should be forgotten. But as an American, it was my honor to be there.
Yes, yes.
Jim got up there, so I'm going to come over here. And if you didn't know, Jim's our quartermaster, by the way, here at the VFW. I'm JD. I am the junior vice commander here. I served 20 years Army. Half of that was infantry, the other half was aviation operations. 2 tours in Iraq, 1 Afghanistan, totaling altogether, I think my ex-wife told me 4 years I was gone. And the same sentiment, the brotherhood and the sisterhood that we all had, that we served and experienced, still holds true to this day. Here in this building, I travel around the country and I get to see guys that I've served with that I haven't seen in over 20 years, you know, from one of my first units when we were privates together. And I could pull up in their yard and give each other a hug, crack a beer, and it's like we just saw each other yesterday. So that's what I gained from it. Those friendships and those bonds that most folks don't get to experience. So, and it falls true here. I would do it all over again. Things are a little bit different in the military now than when some of us were in. But I would do it all over again. And I was a late bloomer. I went in when I was 26, so I had to keep up the 18-year-olds on those runs. My knee replacement shows that one. So anyway, I want to thank everybody. I really want to come up and say thanks for everybody for coming up here today. And ladies, thank you. The food was awesome. It felt like Thanksgiving for me. Other than that, I'm grateful, and I'm glad for the support from this community. Rogersville is a great place to be. I love this place, so thank you.
Let's go here, Billy. Go here.
Now he's got to tell a story to earn his supper.
My name is Patton Jones. Just like the general, I was named after him. My dad's a World War II vet. I'm a Vietnam vet. I also served 20 years in the Army. Went in when I was 17 and retired when I was 38. One of my careers, the second one, I was a junior ROTC instructor in a high school in Kentucky, and was pretty close to the, we did a lot of work with the ladies and daughters of the American Revolution there in Kentucky. So really appreciate what you've done for us, and thank you so much.
My name is really Wild Bill Drennan. My dad was a World War II veteran. My brother was a Vietnam veteran, and I'm a veteran. I come from a long line of a lot of veterans in my family. My great-great-grandfather was a Civil War veteran. In the Battle of Gap in Bulls Gap, Tennessee, my great-great-grandfather was in that. I went military in 1976, 17-year-old, straight out of high school. I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Then I signed up for Airborne. And I ended up in Frankfurt, Germany, and the funny thing about all this is one night we all went out on town, and I came back and I seen the tank lid open, and I went and got in the tank, and then it fell down and dropped, and I couldn't get the thing open. So I was late for formation next day. They did fire me. I was beating the heck out of that tank. But I appreciate what all y'all did, and I work here, help out here, but y'all do an amazing job, and I appreciate all the people that serve for the United States, and we love y'all.
Thank you.
I get awful emotional whenever I talk about any of this stuff, so I spent 2 tours in Vietnam on an aircraft carrier flight deck in county. Farm kid out in Nebraska, never seen anything past the pond out in the backyard, basically. I joined when I was 17. Spent my 19th birthday in Kuski, Japan, the second time I was over there. like I said, I was on the flight deck. We lost a few people. And it's just, I don't know, I ain't good at this stuff. Sorry, guys.
Anybody else? Well, thank you all for sharing with us today. It made our day. It was so worth it. Let's give all of our veterans. Thank you so much. We appreciate you beyond words. And we'll be there with you Monday for Veterans Day celebration at the courthouse, 11 a.m. on the 11th day.
Yep.
Celebrate our veterans. And thank you for coming today, and we'll clean up as best we can. And I love the stories that made today. Anything I did worth it.
It's wonderful getting to know you guys
Yes.
on a whole other level than we come and we bring food, but it's nice to hear a little bit about your service and where you served and what your experiences were. And if y'all ever want to just, come and chat and tell stories, I'm sure any of us would be very happy to
We'd
host
love it.
you and to listen more. So it was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And load up the plate. Yeah, load up the plate and take home with you.
Yes, they're
If
to
you
go
haven't eaten,
containers.
please eat. We want that food gone. Thank you.
This area of the country, in my opinion, is very supportive of their military, and they put me over the veterans because my husband is deployed right now from the 278, and I'm an Army brat. My dad was a member of this VFW, and then my husband, he's saying he was a late bloomer. My husband was 39 when he joined, so, and our son was already in the military, and so this area is so supportive, and I think we just want all veterans to know that if there's anything they need, all they've got to do is get in touch with the DAR. And we're doing a portion to try to help veterans. We're already giving things to the PSOS. So veterans just need to let us know their needs, and we will help all we can.
Now tell me about the cards.
The cards that are being done are being thank you notes for our soldiers. And since the 278th is deployed right now, I'm going to take them and we're going to put them in boxes to go to our soldiers.
Okay.
And then we're going to do Christmas cards, send those in boxes to make sure the soldiers know that this county is very behind them.
So folks here that came to eat can fill out a card, and then it's going to be seen by a local veteran.
Yes, a local veteran from our 278. That's where they'll be going.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when was your husband sent?
He got into Kuwait yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And they're going into the Middle East, and they'll be there till next September.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm sure we'll all keep him and his colleagues in our prayers.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
It's just the 278th and the Rogersville Armory. Just pray for them all.
Okay.
Now, some extras.
What are you saying?
Well, my husband's retired military, so I know how it feels. I'm telling them I'm praying for them, and I appreciate their sacrifice and their family's sacrifice, because a lot of times they worry about their family when they're far away from home.
Right.
And they miss birthdays, Christmas, celebrations that, they won't ever be able to get back. I don't know how many times my kids have sacrificed more than I did.
Wow.
They remember those things. My oldest daughter was small, and she lived on military bases, so she knew, we never know when he would get called away and have to go, and we didn't know when we would see him again. That plays an emotional factor in our children's life.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, I'm glad that you're doing that.
Well, I appreciate all these service members.
Yeah.